Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What's up? What's up? Hopefully, you guys like the new intro. My editor wanted to make it. I was like, you know what? Why not? It's a new year. What's up, everyone? Well, good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is January the 12th. Today's a Monday here. A lot of things to kind of talk about this week with CPI, core PPI. We have some other things to talk about here as well. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Love the new intro. Cool, cool, cool. Victor, B Roots, Cody, KO, Lamid, Robert, 50. Good morning, Juan, Chris, Sinna. Good morning, Frank, PA, Ashley, Wayne, Hartick, Daniel, Miss Reggie, Robert. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everyone? You guys are liking the new intro. Sweet. Yeah, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. A couple things to talk about over the weekend. We had some news, investigation into Jerome Powell. So a little bit of a pullback. Silver's up, brand new all-time highs for that. We'll kind of talk about some of the tech names here, of course, in a second. Good morning. Before we get started, let's pull up the Forex Factor. Actually, before we do that, let me actually do this. If you guys don't already know, I posted something on my second channel. I'm going to start posting more frequently on that. But if you guys don't already know, I did post a trade recap. A little bit of that one was a weekly recap last week, but I'm going to do daily recaps so I can do them a little bit more in depth. So if you guys if you guys haven't already subscribed to my second channel, or if you want to see live updates on exactly the trades that I'm taking each day with the thought process, kind of sizing, overall trade management, make sure to check out my second channel. That is linked. If you go to my main channel and you scroll down on the home feed, you'll be able to see my second channel. As I mentioned, I'll start posting there quite more frequently whenever I take a winning or losing trade. As for everything else, yesterday I posted my 2026 my travel setup. So if you guys haven't watched that, that one's a pretty good one. And yeah, let's head on to the economic calendar for this week. Before we do that, yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Recap was nice. Awesome. Is this Forex and options? It's just kind of going over major indices, stocks, primarily just future stocks and options. That one's just more of a trade recap. I'll also post kind of the live sessions or kind of break down what my thought process is throughout that. Okay. Let's head on to the key economic events. So first things first, as you can see here, coming into this week, we have core CPI. So core CPI along with core PPI, this is going to be the major news events coming into this week, 8:30 on Tuesday, core CPI. And then on Wednesday, we have core PPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we also have the core retail sales. And then on Thursday, we have the unemployment claim. So as you can see right here, we do have quite a bit of red folder news. Last time we had core CPI was, I think it was a while ago. Similar thing with core PPI. It must have been over a month ago with the government shutdown. We really didn't have any core CPI or core PPI news. So this is going to be fairly big coming to this week. As for now, the charts coming into today here as well, let's head on to the higher time frame. So let's first start off on the ES. As you can see right here, coming into today, as for the ES, we're kind of gravitating back up and towards our all-time highs key pivot level. And now you can see there's a little bit of rejection right here, right off this all-time highs. Overall market still very much bullish because we're building up these higher lows. But now you can see we just hit our all-time highs on the futures contracts. So coming into today here, we had a little bit of news as well regarding, as I mentioned, Jerome Powell. That's kind of what dropped the overall markets. And now we're kind of right back down in towards the Friday's lows, the area that we gravitated higher on Friday. So coming into today here, we have quite a big of a gap down here on the ES. So what we're just going to have marked out is primarily this Friday's lows from last week. And this is going to be a key level. I would have liked to see longs above our Wednesday's highs of last week. So in this case, we're going to be a little bit more cautious, at least right off the bat, with this pretty big gap down here in the market. So for the ES coming into today, what I'm going to have marked out is going to be this 69.60 coming into market open. As for a few long scenarios here coming to market open, either the bounce off our 69.60s for this potential continued pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario, reclaim now back above our 69.76 for a potential move back up and towards really this previous day close and this previous day highs. So this is what I have right off the bat here for the ES. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with this gap down, but I want to see if the markets will reclaim or bounce right off the bat. Only way I'm short bias is going to be underneath your Friday's lows of last week, which in this case is our 69.60. So right off the bat, keep an eye out on your Friday's lows. That is going to be key here for the ES coming into market open. As for the SPY chart, similar kind of thesis here. For the SPY, we actually recently hit a brand new all-time highs. So as you can see here on the daily time frame, building up these higher lows, recently just hit a brand new all-time highs here for the SPY. Now we're essentially just coming back down and retesting its previous all-time highs pivot point, which in this case is our 60.88. So moving forward for the SPY chart, as long as you can maintain above our 688, we can be looking for continuation towards the upside. Ultimately, if we break underneath our 688, we're going to see this potential kind of mean reversion, the break of this trend line for this for this potential reversal back lower. So this is going to be the key line in the sand moving forward, 688 here on SPY. If we go back onto the lower time frames here now, let's turn back on the drawings. Go back onto the lower time frames. For the SPY coming into today, what we're going to have marked out is going to be that 689.50, which is our Friday's lows. We're also going to have marked out now, it's going to be that 690.50. So we have two scenarios for the SPY coming to market open today. Either the bounce play off our 689.50 for this continued push back towards the upside, or we're going to be looking for the reclaim back above our 690.50 for this push back up and towards our 692 and our previous day close 694. So these are the scenarios that we have on SPY coming into market open. If we break underneath your 689.50, in this case now it's going to be that previous day lows, then we can see some more downside here in the overall markets back down in towards that 688. So these are the scenarios. There's really two long scenarios that I have for the SPY chart coming into market open. The downside, we could be looking for the break underneath their previous day lows. Another possible scenario for the downside here as well is going to be the rejection off our 690.50. That is also in play here as well. So that is something to keep in mind. Now let's go on to the NQ chart. So the NQ, what I wanted to see on Friday and coming into this week was the break of really this wedge pattern that we have formed in the markets. So as you can see right here for the NQ, we're kind of building up liquidity to both sides, multiple touches from the downside, multiple touches to the upside. What I wanted to see was the break above our key levels for potential continuation higher. So we tried breaking above on Friday, but ultimately now you can see we're immediately rejecting. What we need to see is really the break above our 26,100. That's going to be the key level here for the NQ. And of course on the QQQ, we need to see the break now. It's going to be above, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. For the QQQ, it's going to be the break above our 628. Until we can break above our 628, you can see now we're kind of rejecting off this key pivot point. So for the for the NQ and the QQQ coming into market open, the key levels that we have marked out is now just going to be our last week's highs Other levels we have marked out Thursday's highs, and then we have our previous day lows. So coming into today here for the NQ, these are the levels that we have marked out. You can see a little bit of buyers stepping in off that previous day lows. For the NQ, what we like to see is the bounce off our previous day lows for this pushback towards the upside, or now we're going to be looking for the reclaim back above our Thursday's highs of last week, 25,800 for longs towards the upside. So this is what we have for the NQ coming into market open. For some downside, I like downside underneath that previous day lows, 25,660. So fairly similar game plan to the ES coming into market open. Longs, either the bounce off previous day lows or the reclaim, and then shorts underneath your previous day lows, 25,660s. So this is what I have for the NQ coming into market open. As for the QQQ, fairly similar thesis here. What we have here on the daily chart, as I mentioned, was this key level, which was our 628. You can see multiple touches. What I wanted to see was the break above, but now currently in the pre-market, we're rejecting off this key level. We're still bullish here on the higher time frames just because we are holding up these higher lows. But if we do want to see markets start trending, we need to see the break above. So I like to see the buyers kind of defend this trend line, break back above for this push back up and towards our all-time highs. So this is what I have for the QQQ. If we go on to the lower time frames here, so coming into today for the Qs, you can see pretty big gap down in the overall markets. What we want to see now, if we want to see any sort of upside, key level we have marked out 622.50s. We essentially have your previous day low general area marked out here as well. So if we want to see some longs, either the reclaim back above our 622.50, this is going to be the best case scenario right off the bat. Of course, another scenario, bounce all the way back down at your previous day lows for this continued pushback towards the upside. And then if you're looking for shorts, really it's only going to be underneath that previous day lows. I don't really like shorts too much, but you could be looking for shorts, either the pop and fade off our 622.50 or now really underneath that previous day lows for that continued pushback towards the downside. So coming into today here for the overall markets, I am still very much bullish here on the higher time frames with this gap down over the weekend with news. I want to see if the markets do want to get bought up right off the bat within the first really 15 to 30 minutes, and then see if we can start kind of trending back up and towards our previous day close. So I'm only short bias if we can get underneath that previous day lows. Besides that, I'm going to be looking for the reclaim on most of these major indices for this reversal trade back towards the upside. So that's what I have on the major indices coming into market open. Now let's head on to a few other indices like the SMH and IWM, and then we'll head on to some tech names here. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watches, of course, that one is in the description below here as well. So first things first, as you can see right here for the SMH, right? SMH is the semiconductor ETF, and you can see this one recently made a brand new all-time highs. And it's still very much bullish, right? Kind of creating these higher lows. Now for SMH moving forward, what the key levels I like to have marked out is just going to be that Monday's highs of last week. So for upside, really, we just like to see it maintain above our 383 for this continued pushback towards the upside. Other scenarios, really just kind of this consolidation opening range break for a pushback up in towards, now it's going to be this previous day close along with our previous day highs. So SMH, one of the leading indices towards the upside. That's really what's been holding up the market lately. So based off that information, we'll kind of talk about some of the other semiconductors here in a bit, like MU, TSM, along with Intel as well, which had a nice move on Friday. But overall, semiconductors still holding up here. NVIDIA and AMD lagging just a bit behind. As for IWM, you can see IWM, this one has been holding up as well. Recently made a brand new all-time highs for IWM. If you look at this on the hourly chart, fairly bullish. As you can see, higher lows are being built. Now for IWM, as long as you can maintain above your 259, we like to see this gravitate back up and towards our 261, 50s and higher. So this is going to be the key level here for IWM moving forward. If you look at this on the daily chart, as you can see, fairly bullish here. Right, all-time highs, higher lows are being built. Now, as long as you can maintain above key levels, we can be looking for IWM continuation. So, at least for the major indices, IWM, SMH leading the market towards the upside. Then we have SPY, and then of course we have QQQ, which has been lagging behind. And that's why a lot of these tech names have been showing a little bit more weakness and have been a little bit harder to trade. So those are the major indices. Now let's head on to some of the Mag 7 names that we have coming into market open. If you guys do have any charts, as I mentioned, that you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. As for Tesla, so first things first, as you can see, Tesla really in this downtrend ever since we hit our all-time highs. We've moved towards the downside quite nicely. As for last week's price action, we end up having this opening drive play towards the downside. First 2 days kind of pushed lower, and then we started finding a bottom here later into the week. And then on Friday, we end up having this nice pushback towards the upside. So moving forward here on Tesla, we actually just rejected off a key level, 448. Currently, as you can see, we are in between its previous day's range. So for Tesla coming into market open, what we like to see is a couple scenarios for longs. A couple scenarios. Number one, bounce off our 438, which is the area that we broke out from for this pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario, kind of this consolidation period for this push up in towards our 449. Or now it's going to be above our previous day highs, 449 for this continued pushback towards the upside. So we have a couple long scenarios here on Tesla towards the highs. As for the downside, Tesla, the key level that we have is going to be that previous day close, of course. But the best short now is really going to be underneath your 438 for this continued push towards the downside. So that's what we have for Tesla coming into market open. Shorts underneath 438. Besides that, you could be looking for these major dips to be bought up. As for the semiconductors, so coming into today here for NVIDIA along with AMD as well, showing a bit more weakness compared to the overall markets. We recently had this consolidation period and we finally broke underneath this consolidation period last week. And now you can see we're kind of holding this level and now we can expect some continuation lower. So for NVIDIA coming into market open, the key levels that we have drawn out, 186.50. We do have multiple touches here, so break underneath. Now we're retesting this level, and now we're underneath your previous day lows here as well. So key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 184. So what we like to see is a reaction off of 184 coming to market open. If we pop and reject off this level, we can be looking for NVIDIA continuation towards the downside once again. If we break above and hold, we could be looking for this continued push back up and towards your 186. So previous day lows is going to be very key for the NVIDIA chart here today. So we'll keep an eye out on this coming into market open. As for AMD, key levels that we have marked out, fairly similar thesis here. So what we're going to have marked out is going to be that previous day lows. As you can see for AMD, really the main objective on this one is right back down in towards our 198. So you can see we kind of consolidated here, nice pop, broke underneath, now we're staying heavy. Next major level here is right back down in towards your 198 key level of support. So for AMD coming to market open today, what we have marked out 207.50, other levels 203. You can see nice break underneath, immediate retest, and now you can see holding underneath that 207. Now moving forward here for AMD, we like to see the rejection off your 203. So coming to market open, mark this out. Shorts are either going to be a pop and fade off of your 203 towards the downside. We're going to also mark out this pre-market consolidation, break underneath 200 for this push down in towards your 198. So This is what we have for AMD coming into market open. Two scenarios towards the downside. Only long scenario is going to be the reclaim back above our 203 previous day low reclaim, of course, for any sort of pushback towards the upside. So this is what we have for AMD coming to market open. As for Apple, this one consolidating, not really too much to talk about on this name. Been showing a lot of relative weakness, kind of right back down into a key level of support here now. So for Apple, you really like to see kind of buyers step in and potentially reverse this back up in towards your 265. As for Google, so Google on the daily chart, fairly bullish, right? Higher lows are being built. We recently hit our all-time highs on Google. Now moving forward on Google, we just like to see this old previous all-time highs hold for any sort of continuation higher. So Google, let's keep an eye on this one here today off your previous day lows. What we like to see here now is really the bounce, or sorry, reclaim back above our previous day lows for this push back up and towards 331. So this is what I have for Google. This one, higher time frame relative strength. Last week was showing strength all week as well, above really your 322. Now we just like to see it maintain above 327 for this continuation higher. So this is what we have for Google coming to market open. As for Meta, key level that we have marked out is going to be that consolidation period. So bounces off our 642 for any sort of continuation higher. As for Amazon, this one holding up nicely here as well. So Amazon and Google, the two main watches that showed relative strength last week, and of course are holding up compared to the overall markets. Key levels that we have marked out, 245. We also have our 243. What I like to see here on Amazon really today is the reclaim back above our 245.50. So this is a key level here on the higher time frames. Wednesday's highs push back towards the upside. Another level that I have marked out here, of course, is going to be really that previous day high key pivot point. So a reclaim back above our 246.50 is in play here as well. So a couple scenarios on Amazon, but Amazon and Google, of course, as I mentioned, have been showing a lot of strength. So these are the main ones to keep an eye out for continuation back towards the upside still. As for Microsoft, this one consolidating, not really too much to talk about on this one. You can see if you look into the daily chart, key levels that you just have marked out is your 492 along with this 468. Netflix, this one continuing to show weakness. Key levels that you're going to have marked out is just going to be that previous day lows along with this previous consolidation, 89.60 if you do want to see some more downside on this ticker. So that was it for the major tech names, primarily most names in the Meg 7, with the SPY and Qs, primarily the Qs gapping down here. Really the only names I do like for upside, of course, are Google along with Amazon that are still holding up. Nvidia and AMD, of course, are weaker, so we'll keep an eye out on your previous day lows. And then, of course, for Tesla, in between its previous day's range so far, so we'll keep an eye out on your 438 along with your 449. So that's what we have here. Now let's go on to a few other tickers that we have. Let me grab some water. All right, so if you guys do have any charts or any tickers now, you guys can drop them in the chat. As for some few other names, we'll kind of talk about this here in a second, but you can see tech is still kind of lagging behind. So with the QQQ still inside the range, that is something to keep in mind. As for some other names, Intel pushed up nicely. We'll kind of talk about this here in a second. But if you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. Also, if you do spam the chat, I see the chat moving. If you spam the chat or you spam a ticker, the more you spam it, the less like I see the ticker, so you don't have to spam it constantly. As for the Tesla chart, most likely you don't have the regular trading hours turned on, so you probably just have this. So you have the regular trading hours turned on, then you can just turn on the extended trading hours. It's on the bottom right, and you'll be able to see your pre-market information. All right, so first things first, Palantir. You can see Palantir kind of bouncing off the low, right off our key levels, which is our 175. So Palantir, nice kind of break later into the week sorry, this was earlier into the week, but then we ended up dropping on Thursday and right back down in towards key levels. So for Palantir coming into market open, you can see nice kind of bounce here off our 175. Now what we like to see is going to be the break above our previous day highs for any sort of continuation towards the upside. Key levels here that we can have marked out is going to be that previous day highs if you want to see any sort of continuation. So for Palantir, break above your previous day highs for a potential push up and towards your 182. As for a few other tickers, the key levels that we have, let's go on to some semis here. Key levels that we have on MU. So MU, really solid push towards the upside last week. Key levels that we have marked out is now our previous all-time highs. You can see touch here, touch here, touch here. Nice kind of push up on Friday. Now for MU moving forward, we have a couple scenarios. So scenario number one, bounce off your 436 for this continuation higher. Now it's going to be above your previous day highs. So MU still one of my main watches towards the upside, just because this one has been holding up compared to the overall markets, right? Leading the semiconductors towards the upside here as well. So MU, keep an eye out on MU coming into market open. As for TSM, this one lagging just a bit behind, but TSM key level, I like to see bounce off our 321 or above our 325. Until we can break above our 325, that's going to be key. Keep an eye out on Intel today. So Intel, we talked about this last week before the breakout. Nice break on Wednesday, and then even on Friday, we had a nice solid push higher here as well. So Intel moving forward, keep an eye out on this one. Level that we have marked out here is our 44 higher time frame key pivot point. You can see touch here, touch from last year, and touch on Friday. If we can maintain above 44, we can see continuation higher. If we break underneath 44, we can see this potential mean reversion. But for Intel coming to market open, it's going to be one of my main watches. 44 is your key level. Bounce off your 44 for this continuation higher. Another possible scenario, since it already had that nice bounce right in the pre-market, reclaim or any sort of push back up and towards our previous day close, along with our 46 here on the higher time frame. So Intel, one of my main watches, along with MU coming into market open. As for some other names, let's see. Yeah, I guess I have to scroll back up for some names here. Let's see. SoFi. Yeah, SoFi not really doing too much. Still kind of consolidating here. Similar as Hood. As for a few other tickers, Oracle slowly kind of curling here. It had a nice bounce on Friday. For Oracle, at least moving forward, the key level that we're just going to have marked out, of course, is going to be that previous day highs. You can mark this out 200. Now we're going to need to see the break above 200 for any sort of continuation towards the upside. Okay, let's go on to a few other names here. Now let's go on to silver and gold. As for silver, you can see really solid break above your all-time highs, and now we're having some nice continuation. So pretty big gap up here. We're about 6% in the pre-market. Nice kind of break and hold on Friday. Now we're gapping above. I don't really like marking out this silver chart just because there's a huge amount of gaps in the overnight sessions. It's much easier to mark out the futures chart, but for the actual ETF that we can have marked out here, you're just going to mark out your pre-market lows. Other levels now you can have marked out is going to be that 76.50. So for silver, this one's at an all-time highs. Maintain above now just your 76.50 for continuation, or the bounce off your pre-market lows, which in this case is your 75.97. This is going to be the key level for continuation. If we're looking at gold, of course, this one also making a brand new all-time highs here as well. So as you can see, gold ended up holding above our key levels. We kind of just had this trend line marked out. We talked about this, which was that reclaim back above our previous all-time highs. Now you can see we're making a brand new all-time highs here for gold. So the key levels that we had marked out last week we had this down close candle marked out, and we also had this higher time frame key level marked out here as well. And now you can see ultimately we're making a brand new all-time highs here. Now we're just going to mark out any sort of down close candles. So for gold, really, as long as you can maintain above your previous all-time highs, we can be looking for a continuation higher. If we're looking at GLD, the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be really 415. You can see nice kind of gap up here in the pre-market. Now what we can have marked out your previous all-time highs. And other levels we can have marked out, which is going to be this level, which is your 422.50. That's really going to be the first major key level. So coming to market open, kind of maintain above this for continuation. If we break underneath, you can see a little bit more consolidation back inside this pre-market range. So this is what we have, 422.60s. We can keep an eye on gold and silver, some of the commodities coming into today, since those are the ones that are making brand new all-time highs. We'll see if we want to have continuation on those ones coming into market open. Now let's kind of go over the game plan, at least for OKLO. Nice kind of gap up, but ultimately with news last week, now kind of fading back towards the downside. So let's go on to the major indices, and then we'll go over my game plan once more coming into today. So really today, this is the only day that we don't have any major red folder news. As I mentioned, we do have core CPI tomorrow, which is going to be fairly important, core PPI on Wednesday, and then we have unemployment on Thursday. At least for me today, with this gap down here, what I'm going to be looking for is the reclaim back above key levels. So for the Qs, my key thing is going to be the reclaim back above our 622.50 coming into market open here on the Qs for a potential pushback towards the upside. If we do reject, then we could be looking for your previous day lows, but that might have to be a little bit more aggressive. The first really 5 to 15 minutes of market open is going to be a telltale sign on what it wants to do, either the reclaim right off the bat, or we're going to consolidate a little bit more coming to market open. As for SPY, similar thesis here. As I mentioned, 690 is going to be key. If we can reclaim back above, we could be looking for 692 and potentially your previous day close. It is a pretty big gap towards the downside, so of course I don't expect it to fill within the first 30 minutes. But if we start trending, we can have this kind of slow grind back towards the upside the rest of the day in the markets. But key level, as I mentioned, 690.50 is going to be key here for the SPY. If we reject, then we could be looking for the bounce play off our 689.50. So we're going to be looking for the reclaim coming into market open. You can see SMH still holding up, so I'm still fairly bullish here on the semis, and even IWM is holding up here as well. Tesla in the middle of the range, be a little bit more cautious on this ticker coming to market open. As for NVIDIA and AMD, these ones gap down, so let's keep an eye out on your 184 for potential kind of pop and fade coming to market open, or we're going to be looking for the reclaim. Similar thing here on AMD. Almost exact same game plan. Keep an eye out on your 203. That's going to be key here on AMD coming to market open. As for the rest of my tickers, so I'm going to keep an eye out on Google. Still fairly bullish here for the bounce off our 327 for this continued push higher. Amazon, similar thesis here. Key level 245 for this potential push back up and towards your 248 and above. As for a few other tickers that I like, MU along with Intel. Intel is actually my favorite watch coming into market open. But for MU, key level that we can have marked out, 336 potential bounce for this pushback towards our all-time highs. And even Intel key level for me, 44, bounce play off 44 for this pushback towards your all-time highs. So my favorite watches, keep an eye on a couple of the semis. MU, Intel showing some strength from last week. And then, of course, Google and Amazon, keep an eye out on those ones coming to market open. As for the rest of the tickers, as I mentioned, I'm open to playing both sides on these ones, right? NVIDIA, AMD, even Tesla, kind of inside the middle of the range. So I don't really have too clear of an edge, right? Markets are still consolidating inside this range here on the Qs. So until we can finally break outside this range, which as I mentioned is going to be above our 428, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious here since we've kind of just been ranging on the QQQs for a while now. So until we can finally break above, we can be a little bit more cautious. Once we start breaking above and start trending, that's when we're going to have some nice moves on the Mag 7. But until then, we're going to be a little bit more hands off. As for the SPY, this one, of course, is still very much bullish. So we just like to see it maintain above key levels. But besides that, yeah, those are primarily going to be my main watches coming into today. So keep an eye on Intel, MU, and then Amazon and Google here as well. And then for the rest of the tickers, as I mentioned, be open and playing both sides. But keep an eye out on some of the semis for continued strength towards the upside. Besides that, yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy that. So if you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. And with that being said, I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.